A visit from my great-grandmother. This story happened when I was 17 years old, but before I go on and explain the story, I had like give a bit of a backstory to this story. So, I started believing in the paranormal when I was about 11 years old. My aunt lived in this weird house where you could just sense that someone or something was in the house with you, especially the basement. As I gradually got older, I always seemed to have experiences wherever I went. I honestly do not know if spirits are attracted to me, or that the spirit that my adopted aunt unleashed while playing with the Ouija board likes to follow me around and taunt me. Either way, no matter where I went, I always had seemed to have paranormal experiences. This particular story is not scary, but it's really creepy nonetheless. A few years after my parents had separated, we moved to a suburban town in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. It was just my mom, my younger brother, and I. We moved into a townhome with a 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and an unfinished basement. My mother and younger brother had moved in before I did, since we were not all living together before moving into the townhome, and she painted the living room walls brown, and the lights in the main bathroom upstairs gave off this orange-white color. My brother had the room at the end of the hallway, which was pretty small. I had the room right beside the bathroom, and my mom had the room beside my brother's room. My room in particular was the creepiest when I first moved in. I would walk into the room and the whole room just felt heavy and not so welcoming. I had a couple of experiences before this, like my door slowly closing on its own, and my brother and his friends and I getting partially possessed by something. But those are different stories for another time. This story in particular is the story that I would like to talk to you guys about, because there's just no explanation as to why it happened, maybe besides that I could have hallucinated it all, but once you hear the story, you too will agree that there's no explanation to it. So like I said, I was 17 years old when this happened. It was late at night and I was sleeping in my room. My brother was also asleep in his room, and my mother was the only one up watching TV downstairs with our 9-year-old purebred husky named Dakota. I got woken up by this presence of a dog and a light growling noise coming from the area where I could feel the presence. Thinking it was our dog Dakota, I waved my hand in the air and said, "Not now, Dakota, not now, Dakota." I could still hear the light growling, so in an annoyed voice, I lifted my head up and looked towards the area I felt the presence in and yelled, "Dakota, not now," only to find that he was not there. I looked to my door and saw that it was closed. In confusion, I thought nothing of it other than I was hallucinating and fell back asleep. Minutes later, I got woken up by the same growling noise, but a bit louder this time. Again, I waved my hand in the air and said, "Not now, Dakota, not now, Dakota," and again, he kept growling and I yelled, "Not now, Dakota," only to find him not there. I looked at my door in confusion again, still not thinking anything of it, other than me just hallucinating again. I then again fell back asleep. I then got woken up by this loud bark that filled the room, and I sat up straight in my bed. I looked around in confusion, not knowing where the hell it came from, feeling kinda creeped out and scared. I got up from my bed and ran downstairs to see our dog Dakota beside my mom on the ground and my mom watching TV. Even though I knew he could not have been in my room, there was another part of me that thought that my mind was playing tricks on me, so I asked her, "Hey mom, was Dakota in my room just now?" She looked over at me in confusion. "No, he was down here the whole time." I felt really creeped out and confused, and I really did not want to go back up to my room at this point, but I went back up to bed, and it did not take me long before I fell asleep, because after I heard the loud bark that filled the room, I felt like a weight that was holding the room down was lifted and it felt lighter. A few years later, while hanging in the same room this incident happened in, I told my younger cousin that lived in that weird house about the creepy and strange night. She told me that it could have been our great-grandmother. I looked at her in confusion and asked her how could this be, and she told me that during the time she had Alzheimer's disease before her death a year before the incident, that she would make little barking noises, and I looked at her funny and asked her why she would do that. She told me that she did not know, that it was something that she would just do. Well, great-grandma, if that was you that scared whatever the hell it was in my room away, I thank you very much and miss you. If it was not, well, I'm glad that I got the fuck out of there when we did, because I do not know how long I had be able to handle a haunted town home. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button to support my work. And as always, enjoy the fear, my dear.